the real one.
It's the new one, sorry guys.
I told you how to...
Things like that. It helps her, so.
Here's the dryer sheets.
Give it to me. The big man is coming from set free, and it's on, so I'ma get sick with it. Say my God's on the throne, now get with it. Cause yeah, he's gonna be the man of the year. Go around making hits like
Here it is. Here it is.
Yeah, that's the box.
There's the box with the dryer sheet in it. It's already smoky from being inhaled. Like.
And I met me some bros in 94, but now it's 95, it's time to roll. And I'm only 16, but I'm pissing off the devil and making demons mean. And yes, I'm saving bros, saving souls, up and down the avenues. And after I do that, I'm digging deep in my pockets for another map. Feel me tough, there's no for being bad, cause when I buzz the lyrics, I get the
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Chief.
Who's this?
Montana 300, bro.
He actually raps a lot about God. I think you're safe, man.
Oh,
got
Gotcha,
it.
gotcha. Ooh, thank you. God, you know how I like it.
I do.
Hot like Beyonce.
Just this one.
Everybody feeling good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is this the most wonderful day of your life?
Yes, sir.
Sunshine, cloudy day.
There you go. Come on now. That's what I like. The black sheep on fire today. Hello. Anybody in? All right. Well, we got Olivia. Hi, Olivia. You ready? House meeting in a couple minutes. Oh, your bedroom looks beautiful. Yeah. Good. Come on, girl. Let's get ready. You look fantastic. Come on now. Yeah. I think we got everybody in here. How you doing, Britt?
Okay.
All right. You gonna make it?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Love you.
If you can get on up, come on out over here. We're joining, doing a little fun time. Okay? I did not even recognize her because she's so messed up, so jacked up, because it just takes all the weight off your body. It takes you to skin and bones. Your skin turns all these terrible colors. Hepatitis is, very rampant, in this world of using needles. So, hey, just praying for her she gets better and she can join the rest of the crew. Being in rehab, as they call it, and all that stuff, like, it isn't punishment. It's a time where we made a choice to get together and change our life. And how much of our life do we need to change?
All of it.
All of it, man. We got things to work on in our life, but first we have to detox, get all that poison, all that crap out of us, and then start getting some clarity of mind, some defining moments where we go, you know what, I don't want to go back there. And whenever we see somebody new come in, somebody who's just, starting to get clean, we can remember, man, that was me. And we never want to forget. But by the grace of God, there go I. Beautiful. Ronnie?
Chief, from Spectacular this morning. I wanted to thank you for everything that's happened in the last couple weeks since I've got over here with you from Florida. My whole life has changed. I'm not a spiritual person. I wasn't brought up in church. Wake up, read it, drink my coffee, smoke a cigarette. I'm just out here vibing, listening to music, just enjoying life sober today.
Let me get at you with some nuggets of wisdom from above, because I want all of us to realize, as a man or woman thinketh, so are we. We change our thinking. We get a checkup from the neck up. And that's the way we change our life. As we think, we'll start to act on that. I told you guys last week when Saturday night when we were at Hollywood Boulevard and I saw a Catwoman, I looked at her what?
Fanny pack.
At her fanny pack, and I realized, well, I better not look at that fanny pack too long because I might think, Hannah, that fanny pack
Might taste good.
might taste good,
Might smell good.
might smell good,
Feel good.
and then I'll be wanting some, right? And we'll let our feelings take charge of our life. That's how it happens. It starts happening in our mind. We water those type of thoughts, and what we think about all of a sudden starts to grow in our head, And then we get to that place where I got to have this. But if we stay on track, stay focused, stay thinking good thoughts, reading good things, hearing good things, and enjoying good times together, because all of us as addicts, we like to get high. We like to feel good. Sometimes when I get up out of bed in the morning, man, my body is just aching, man. This is my big year, 69, and feeling fine. But, man, my body, man, says, hey, I do a resurrection when I get up, one leg at a time. And then, man, I get up, get in the vehicle, and I'm on my way over here to the place I'd rather be than anywhere on planet Earth. If you don't think so, ask my wife. She says, you are addicted to the addicted. You love them addicts, don't you? I go, they're just like my own kids. I think I might even like them better than my kids.
Let's take it to the left, left, left. Let's take it to the right, right, right. So we party all day, day, day. So we party all night, night, night. Might be up in the club, club, club. Might be up in the house, house, house. But no matter where we at, set free, gon' turn it out, set free, gon' turn it out.
I was born in Anaheim, California, 1947, to a wonderful mom and dad, 5 more siblings in my family, and my dad was a bricklayer, my mom was a housewife. I can remember watching Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best, and just enjoying life. Life was good. The area in Anaheim where I was from was predominantly Anglo. So here I was, a very dark kid, in the middle of a lot of white friends who were from Oklahoma, Texas. My childhood was really cool. Matter of fact, I saw the white picket fence at Leave It to Beaver's house and all that kind of stuff. It was very attractive to me. But when I was getting close to 10, 11, 12, I could tell that there's turmoil in my house. And I could tell that my dad was, not caring for my mom very well. And I could hear him scream at her, yell at her, to the matter of where I saw him grab her by the hair one night and throw her across the room. And that just rocked my world. And the next thing I know is I see my dad with another woman, and that was like a mind blower. I was going, oh, this is too weird, in my house. And I looked at him and I said, couldn't be, not my dad. I love him, I respect him, didn't matter what he was like, not my dad. And I looked for someone to blame, so I blamed God. I said, God, this is all your fault. And my mom and dad ended up getting divorced. So here I was, 12 years old, almost 13, the oldest of 7 children. Mom had to go to work, the typical story. She wanted to do best. She needed to make money to pay for us. Dad was gone. Man, I needed someone to love me. I needed some help. I went out to the street corner. There were the older guys. They go, Phil, hey, you're in pain? Here, man, drink this. Smoke this, drop this. The next thing you know is I started using drugs, and I'm going into middle school. So me and the fellows from my neighborhood started a group called the Olive Street Crew. We would jump people, steal stuff, all that stuff, acting out all this brokenheartedness from, now I'm a victim mentality. My dad's gone. My mom's at work every day now, so I'm running the house. Nobody's telling me what to do.
Well, Phil's about 9 years older than me. So he got the dad part of him, I only got the father part of him. I think I was 3, and he went out for milk and never came back.
I was 5, and I was very heartbroken, even though I was very young. I felt like he divorced me when he divorced my mother.
I missed that whole boat with having a father. So Phil was actually the father figure at the house.
By the time I got to high school, I was getting high all the time. And I said, I made a declaration that my life, anybody ever gets in my way, they better never, man, woman, or child. And I said it just like that.
He left an aura around people that didn't like it because he would beat the crap out of them.
It wasn't just Phil, it was also my brother Bert. They were doing all kinds of crazy things. Like Phil would start the trouble and Bert would have to end it for him.
Back then we didn't shoot nobody. but it would have been a lot less painful.
I just went on a roller coaster ride of drugs and alcohol and women and violence. One day I got busted for selling $10 worth of marijuana. And back in those days, marijuana was compared to heroin and everything. And so a year later, I get out of there, and I got a girl waiting for me, man. Beautiful Jewish girl. And then we hooked up together. Next thing you know, she gets pregnant. Named him Geronimo, and he was my firstborn son. And I tried to do the straight life, but I was riding my Harley, and I like to get out in the wind with my partners and go party. I love to party, man. I was a sex addict. I ended up in a garage with hepatitis B, all yellow, skin yellow, went down to about 120 some pounds. So I put this Hawaiian shirt on, and I go with my partner John to this restaurant called DeFalco's Italian Restaurant. Now, I'm not into Italian food, but I saw some good looking things on the menu there.
There was this guy in here, he's asking about you, and I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, let him know I'm not interested.
She saw the Hawaiian shirt, long hair. She's from that east, so she didn't know what a Mexican was. She thinks I'm a Hawaiian guy, that I'm healthy. Don't know that I'm a hope to die dopey, and I just cleaned for the last 6 months.
Well, then he asked again, and he kind of pursued it. So I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to say yes.
She's straight as can be, a normie, goes to college.
I'm not a drug addict. I'm not a motorcycle person at all. Not even a thrill seeker in any way whatsoever.
Before you know it, I moved in. Her roommate moved her out. And she's trying to help me. She says, we need to get you a job. And I tried the job thing. That lasted 2 days. That didn't work.
It's very hard to explain to people, but there was a part of him that I admired.
I had all this going on in my life, and I'm just jacked up. I'm just full of drugs, full of hate, full of no life. I got a beautiful lady, but I don't know how to treat her.
Simply put, him and I were both nefarious dogs. We were crime partners. I don't want to go into, my Bible says it's a shame to even speak of those things were done in darkness, but, for the edification I will, So we were very bad. If it was, we'll just check any box you want, guilty.
Being naive to drugs, I didn't know a lot of the symptoms and things, so...
She asked me to watch her son. I'm the last guy you want watching your son, I got time for any of that stuff like that. A bunch of people came over buying drugs and making a whole scene. Next thing you know...
You know how when your mattress is not too firm and you put a sheet wood underneath it? It stuck out about this far. So the story I had heard was that he was running and he ran into that after he took a bath. Phil was too out of it to know really what happened because he was doing heroin at the time. And when I got there, he was passed out. So there's no real what happened. However, the police had been wanting to get him because he was a nuisance.
Aguilar, come out with your hands up. It was the Anaheim police, surrounded the house. I'm taking the rest of the stash that I go in there, and I'm going to the bathroom to flush it all down. And then I felt a cold pistol right at the temple of my head. And they said, make a move, Aguilar. We'd like to kill you.
Boom, that was it. We got him now. We're gonna get him on this child abuse. And that's how the whole story started.
So are you saying that Phil never physically harmed your son?
No, he never did, and that was the part that's so hard for me. It was really more of a drug deal that they were trying to get him on. So the lawyer said, do a plea deal, and that's what he did.
I really didn't get the whole story, why he went down for what he did, and never really asked him, but, I'm not a very good pen pal or whatever, but, I just waited for him to get out.
They gave me a 1 to 10 year sentence in state prison, and this was the beginning of a new life as I started to sober up and clean up and dry out, and my emotions came back. I'm going to start to write Sandra.
Every day I'd get a letter from him, every day. And telling me how sorry he was. And then, of course, his brother and other people would tell me, that's just jailhouse talk. That's all it is.
I'm at Chino State Prison, and one of the guards says, hey, any of you boys want religion, walk on down the hall. I said, I'll go on down there and check it out. Get out of my cell, go on down the hall, go into a room where there's about 50 men. Next thing I know, there's kind of a short, portly looking bald-headed white fellow who comes in the room, and I'm going, wow, who is this guy? I've watched each step that God did in my life, and I just want to, thank you.
Well,
man, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
It's by His grace. That's why I'm just available, that's all. Just available to use. Come on in.
People go, well, what kind of person led you to the Lord? Was it a gang member? Was it a thing? I go, no, he was bald head. I didn't see any tattoos on him.
But I find working with a hardcore criminal to be the easiest type of person to work with. They are tired, burned out, and they're looking for some kind of relief, some kind of answer. When I go into a prison, I do a variety of things. Sometimes I'm speaker at chapel services. I walk death row in San Quentin Prison, where I served as an acting chaplain for a number of years. The day that I met Phil, we gave a gospel message and an invitation for people to make a decision to follow Christ the rest of their lives. And that was the beginning of a real miracle in Philip Aguilar's life.
But that day, I knew in my knower that when you spoke and you made it real clear, you brought the cookies down where I could reach them, but you didn't play games, I remembered either. You weren't saying, hey, just say a little prayer and everything's going to be rosy-posy. This would be the beginning of your walk with Jesus. And as I'm sitting here next to you, I'm just grateful, thankful, appreciative, more meaningful than you could ever imagine, because that day turned my whole life around.
You're very important to me, and you're very important in the kingdom. So just keep going.
The preacher hugged me. First time I'd been embraced by a man in my life. My dad never hugged me, so never knew what that was like. Now as I think about it, it was that higher power, it was that supernatural power, it was Jesus' power, man, it was...
Baby, I know Jesus.
When he started talking about the Lord, and I've never heard God presented that way. The Lord, Jesus, salvation. I never heard any of that. All he kept writing about was the peace that he had, and I'm like, this is what I want. I want peace too. After I gave my life to the Lord and started getting closer to the Lord, I felt compelled. I have to go see this person. I have to see this changed person for myself. When I saw him, I couldn't even believe it was him. The transformation was unbelievable.
And about 6 months or 7 months later, we got married in the prison visiting room.
When I walked into the prison room, I could not believe the change in my brother.
Tell the story.
It wasn't just it was on the inside and the outside.
Tell the story.
He had gained weight, and he spoke like someone that I didn't know. And it was one of the happiest moments in my life, seeing my brother and seeing the change, the transformation that the Lord did.
Lieutenant Bookie was the one who gave her away to me, and my friend Pastor Herb, he had some of the Christian inmates come there and sing a song, This Joy That I Have, the world didn't give it to me. And about 30 days later, we had what they call a trailer visit, where we got to consummate our marriage. And I go before the parole board, and they go, you know, well, you are like an exemplary model inmate here. We believe you're going to make it. Next thing you know, they gave me a release date. My wife's happy. I'm happy. She's got her son, and he's happy that I'm getting out. God had worked all that out.
Proof's in the pudding, you know? I mean, if he's going to come out, he's going to start terrorizing everybody again, or he's going to come out and be a completely different man. And sure enough, man, he was a different man.
He takes this Bible, which I hadn't seen, slams it on the table and says, Jimmy, it's all about Jesus. I said, I've done a lot of things, but I'm not going to do any BS weirdness concerning the Bible, church, God. You can count me out.
And I heard the voice of God. I believed it was God saying, I called you to ministry. You need to go to that Bible college and enroll. And this was a Baptist Bible college, a Jerry Falwell affiliate school, very conservative. And I'm going, man, I got to wear a suit and tie if I go. First day I was there, I went looking for a church. Found Temple Baptist Church, Pastor John Lyle.
Back in 1979, this young couple, Phil and Sandy Aguilar, came to church. They wanted to serve the Lord, so we had them work in junior church. Phil was called to the ministry, wanted to learn soul winning, and I trained him, and then he took somebody out for the 12 weeks in the spring and trained them.
And he raised the money for me to go to Baptist Bible College. The next thing you know, I'm the co-pastor of Anaheim Baptist Church with my old psychology professor, Dr. Daniel Davison.
I tried to go visit him, and he would just, he just squared up on me really big. The Baptists are good people, don't take me wrong, but they won't take you home to dinner,
He would invite people to church that were his friends, that were drug addicts and gang people, whatever, and they weren't welcome there.
All our friends are, excuse the word, they're prostitutes, they're drug addicts, these are nefarious people. We'd bring them and they go, ooh, did you see how she was dressed? She was dressed like a streetwalker. And then our reaction would be, that's how she pays for her drugs. And it was like, ookie, we need to put down paper.
And next thing you know, they call a meeting together at the Anaheim Baptist Church, kind of like, you're a little bit too charismatic for our group. So in a nice way, we broke fellowship.
It was breaking my heart because there was bitterness from the Baptists towards Phil, and they couldn't, their hair was longer than that, and they got guitars.
And finally, I guess they told him, hey man, if that's what you want to do, why don't you go start your own church? And that's what he did.
Here I am now. I'm a new man in Christ, and I'm starting a ministry called Set Free Baptist Church.
Under 6 months ago, the Lord brought us here to Anaheim Boulevard, which has been a prayer request of many of us for a long time. And now we're here right down the street from City Hall. The Lord has given me a home right across the street from the mayor, so I can pray for him every day, and so I can always remind him that the Lord Jesus Christ is truly the Lord of Lords and King of Kings.
I call it real Christianity. It's not people just sitting there bored to death. Even today, you go to church, and it's rare that somebody's quoting from the Bible. That's what it's all about. Well, their whole sermons and their whole music was all about Jesus. Jesus loves you. And you need Jesus to be saved.
Is that real Christianity or not? This is what it's all about. We're not here trying to produce phonies. People coming in Sunday and go, hey, everything's just wonderful. Yeah, nothing but happiness every day night. No. That's the phony, hypocritical, put on the face. God bless you, brother, yes. This is the real stuff.
I believe people see his sincerity and that he doesn't want anything from them. He just wants to pour into them. So people wanted to follow him. They wanted to do the things that they knew would be great for the Lord.
And we encourage each other because the day of the Lord is approaching. Every moment it gets closer to the Lord Jesus Christ returning.
And I had some Baptist preacher friends say, you're not like a Baptist church, because I started loosening up. Took off the suit and tie, started getting some Levi's, started riding my Harley again. I get the guitars playing. I get some contemporary music going on, so we changed it to Set Free Christian Fellowship.
It's not just a name, it's a way of life. For a lot of people that I grew up with and around, we're always searching for, what we know, some of us, as the beloved. Set free was that piece that was missing for a lot of people, where they finally felt, I'm home. I can breathe, I feel accepted just the way I am.
We were getting dressed for tonight, and she'd just been there a couple minutes, and Philip was in the other room. I heard him checking out for her salvation. He goes, who do you like? She goes, well, I like everybody. And he goes, no, come on. You like the devil or you love Jesus?
It never was really done like that. You had the Calvary movement, more hippie and nice, peace and love. Here you had bikers, gang members, people who wore beepers at that time, all thrown in it was like a gumbo, you know what I mean? Like of different flavors. And to me, that was groundbreaking, because most churches were either black church, white church, Mexican church. It was needed at that time to open up, that there are people who look different that love Jesus,
His only business in life, it seemed, was to make sure everyone came to know the Lord. Yeah. And that's all he did.
Anybody else right now? Eyes closed, heads bowed. Everybody in prayer for those that need to make a decision. I'm looking for believers to pray them out of their seats right now. And those that need to make a decision. If you're not 100% sure, you die today, you be with Christ. Get your body out of that seat and you come on up here and get that assurance right now.
All of my brothers came to know the Lord. My dad came to know the Lord. My mom did. I mean, Sandra's family, friends. I have so many friends that came to know the Lord through Phil.
Take care of business for the Lord. Have tracts in your hand. Be ready to share the gospel. Night's coming when you cannot share it.
Watching God move is the unbelievable power of what happened. If you're going to believe, we never, ever, ever passed a plate. So we all get the same salary here. Zip. Zip, that's your salary. You're here to serve God, not be, paid. Everything we did that way, and God bless. And it was just unbelievable to see the miracles.
Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah to the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Get down. You don't want to see me in the street. Get down. Packing word instead of packing heat. I'm a soldier. Hey. Soldier. Hey. Soldier. Find me on the battlefield. Down. You don't want to see me in the street. Get down. Packing word instead of packing heat. I'm a soldier. Hey. Soldier. Hey. Soldier. Find me on the battlefield.
Right. Left. Right. Left. I mean, just wonderful memories. I just love this old warehouse because this is where the revival began here in downtown beautiful Anaheim, in a gang-ridden neighborhood here where people said nothing good could come out of this, but believe me, this is the place that happened. We had a group of about 50, 60, sometimes 70 people meeting in the front of the building, and then one day, probably a couple years in, we started moving back here and started doing church in the warehouse, about 125 people.
Coming at you live from the Set Free new building.
We had no air conditioning, no heating system whatsoever in here. And when it would rain, people would have an umbrella, so when it leaked in the roof here, and when it was hot, you just had a little fan in front of your face, battery fan, or threw water. And I kept it open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the first church that I know of that never slept.
In the outside, everybody looked tough and mean and rough. They just gave you the biggest, warmest bear hugs, these big old guys with just earrings and all kinds of tattoos and bikes and motorcycles. They were just great people.
Even though I don't have a family, a blood family, I have you guys, and I thank God for that.
Thank you, Alexander.
I mean, he would have 10 people at the door greeting you. You got loved by 10 people before you even walked into the sanctuary. Everybody's here for the same purpose. Drop your attitudes, drop your persona. You're here. Everybody's here for the same reason.
So whenever you go witnessing to somebody, when you walk down an alley, you know what you got to do? Make sure you got Jesus with you. Because you ain't bad enough to take care of the people in the alleys. You ain't big enough to take care of the people in the alleys. But if you got Jesus with you, he's got you covered. He's got you covered. He wants your mug beat, you'll get beat up. Maybe you need a good whipping. He knows what's good for us.
He was amazed at how many people were coming, and it just got larger and larger. And all I thought was, there's something different about him, without a doubt, because everything that he did as a risk taker that he got put down for by other Christians is all over every church now.
And this Phil Aguilar was kind of a guy who was just blowing things up with his way of thinking, the way of doing things, very radical. I didn't know if I understood all of his approach to life, but I liked what I saw in his spirit.
I don't know if any of you ever partied before, out in the world, but man, this girl was just, parties are awesome, man. You drink a lot and you shoot up this or snort this or smoke that. You just have a ball and then you go outside and you heave for a while. Well, she was on the heaving part.
She would, beautiful, all over your outfit and everything like that. I mean, it's got slobber, boogers, everything hanging all over the place, man. Regurgitation everywhere, and I mean, you know, what do you guys want? Young girl, about 27 years old, we just want to tell you that Jesus loves you. Oh, get out of here! Told her, no, we're not leaving. I want to pray for you. I want to pray for you. And we laid our hands on her and prayed for her and just told her that Jesus loved her. And I gave her a tract with our address and said, hey, listen, hold on to that. Hold on to it tight. And she did. She grabbed hold of it. And I says, when you come out of your stupor here, you give me a call here. You say, Brother Phil, did she call? Not yet, but she will.
How Jesus was with the, with the disciples, they're foul-mouthed fishermen, dirty. I mean, I picture them as, they're a wild bunch, and they're radical, and they're unchurched and untrained, and that's what Set Free was.
Man, I love it when the beat just hits so hard. Go hard, go home. We've been making them beats that bump that'll make you wanna say. Man, I love it when the beat just hits so hard. Go hard, go home. We've been making them beats that bump.
I don't care if you're a lockdown facility, drugs are going to creep their way in, and they're going to creep their way in through us. Every time we keep breaking those little rules, can a man take fire in his bosom and not get burnt? No. No, we're going to get burnt, but we got to get out of that mentality of, well, how burnt am I going to get? We think that smoking marijuana and weed is all right. It's no problem. Today, I already heard somebody was smoking marijuana in the bathroom. Here. On our campus. Can anybody believe that? Ronnie, can you believe that?
Yeah, man. I still have a problem I'm working on. Honestly, to me, I know it's not good and I want to break all my bad habits, but I can't drop everything at once. And I'm trying my hardest and I'm doing my best and I'm progressing and I'm learning, but I still got some kinks I got to work out. I'm not perfect. I'm human. All others here, I'm not the only one that's made a mistake. Everybody, we forgive each other, we learn from it.
As long as you learn from it. Like,
yeah, absolutely,
we can't
100%.
just keep forgiving and then not make a change.
Thank you.
Hey, Ronnie, are you live right now?
Yes.
Shot caller.
I've been talking my ear off since you did it because you're so guilty, and I'm like, miss me with that, dude. You up. I'm gonna give you that hard shoulder. Sorry, I'm not gonna talk to you about it right now, dude, because you up.
I hope that everybody is forgiving. I apologize to everybody for my actions, and I'm going to try to put those behind me, learn from them, and
it's a tough one. It's a tough one, because I know where you have come from, and that's why I'm making that allowance. But I feel just like Travis, like you wanted to talk to me, but I don't, miss me with that. We can mess it up for all of us, because as much as people think it's not that big a deal, it is a big deal. And we've been honest. That's the coolest thing, is definitely being honest. But like Hannah said, with that honesty, now we got to do something different about it. I put an advertisement in a Christian marketplace that says karate taught from a Christian perspective. And one of my first clients was this lady named Lois Trader. She came in with an Isaiah 63 football shirt on, and she pulled up in this nice new Jaguar. And I go, oh, this lady's cool, man, And she saw me having a few homeless people coming in during the time we were having karate lessons, all this stuff. She goes, what do you do here? And I go, I have a ministry called Set Free. And I said, what do you do? And she says, I'm a court reporter. And she just kept getting more involved and more involved.
We have neat brothers and sisters in the Lord go out for the weekend and they blow it. They had a bad weekend. They get back on drugs or they take another drink. And I see the love of Jesus with the leadership here at Set Free restore them. And that's the best thing in the world, to see people get another chance.
She was fantastic. She was smart. And everything I thought, she made happen for me. Whether it's ministering to people, writing letters to the mayor, getting me involved in all these different conferences and stuff that I was doing. And her husband happened to be a cameraman at a place called Trinity Broadcasting Network.
And now your hosts, the founders and president of TBN, Paul and Jan Crotch.
Welcome. Hello, everybody.
Jan Crouch, one of the owners of TBN, her and her husband Paul, was mentioning that we need to find a place to send homeless people or people on drugs, people that need help. So Tim Trader, Lois's husband, the cameraman, he tells Joni, he goes, you know, my pastor, he takes people into his home. He's got about 30 people living there right now in his own home.
And the first time we met him, I just couldn't believe there was somebody around that's like Jesus. When someone's hungry, you feed them. When they don't have clothes, you give them what you have. When they don't have a place to sleep, he puts them on the floor of his own home. Now that is Jesus. That's Jesus. And you see this man and you see Jesus.
Oh man, I feel like I was walking into like Willy Wonka land because things were made out of things they shouldn't be made out of. Her look is her look, but a lot of her heart was set free.
You see us in the audience, our hair is all messed up. We didn't care how we looked.
It seemed like surreal, you know. It was like weird. Your dad's famous on TV. That's how it seemed at the time, you know.
Paul and Jan would come over to my house. We'd watch Airplane. We'd have fun. Just became family. Me and her just really had this spiritual love, like it says. And Paul was just a friend, and he father figured me. So her and Paul goes, what can we do to help you? So I says, I will utilize whatever you give me to use, but I don't want to own anything. She goes, well, we want to buy you a house to use. So the next thing you know, they buy a house. We call it the House of Paul, named after the Apostle Paul, not Paul Crouch. Paul and Jan have a dedication there, and they show it on TV.
A couple of years ago, we had a wonderful occasion like this where we dedicated the House of Paul. And now, Pastor Phil Aguilar, it looks like we're growing. The House of Timothy has been acquired right next door. What's happening?
Well, I'll tell you, God's blessing. It's been about 2 years, and we filled up that house, and on a regular weekly basis, we take in folks. Their lives are given to Jesus. We watch them change. We watch them grow. And now we've outgrown just that house, and God's blessed us through the TBN family with another home, and it's already filled up, and we're just glorifying God on Anaheim Boulevard, downtown Anaheim, blessing people in the name of Jesus.
Any type of revitalization, downtown Anaheim was just going down the tubes.
And it's going to be block by block, community by community, that turns this country around on drugs.
And instead of those houses being empty and abandoned, you know, the city leased them out to Set Free, who took care of the houses, by the way. I mean, they scraped and painted and fixed those houses up.
And so we house over 200 men, women, and children a night.
A night.
A night, feed them 3 meals a day. And
all that's done through volunteerism.
All
it's
donated
unbelievable.
Food. We all meshed. There's about 300 of us when I was living there. We all were assigned a blessing, not a chore, it was a blessing. Mine was to make the oatmeal in the morning. So I woke up, I cooked a huge pot of oatmeal for everybody. We did devotions early, we got ready, and then we all met at the building about 8 o'clock in the morning. And from there we would like sing songs and do Bible studies and clean, and at night we always had something going on. And it always involved food. Thank you, Pastor Phil, for the extra 30 pounds.
Do you love Jesus? I love Jesus! I mean, come on, let's party.
Everything was just a righteous party for Jesus. I loved it.
I liked the way we grew up. I thought it was fun. We always lived like 40 people in our house. I don't remember ever living alone until I think 17 is the first time I had my own room.
One of the guys that lived in our room, me and my brothers, and he's like, pretty bird, like, cuckoo, cuckoo. We're like, what? Like, he's about to jump out the window. He's like, dude, they're after us. And you're like, what? What's this dude talking? I mean, we're 11, 12 years old. We don't know what he's, basically he was on drugs, on meth.
From the liquor store to the pizza shop to the church to the many houses that lived in that area. That was it, man. We would just cross one street from the other and you would see everyone you knew.
People bought homes in the neighborhood here from other places just so they could be part of the Set Free movement.
I was very trusting because I just felt like God took care of me. God's looking out for me. He's looking out for my kids. I always felt that way.
But this was normal for us, and that was not really the exciting parts. That was scary, but you didn't say nothing because you're now in a culture. You're around all these gangsters and thugs, and
it was just normal. Everybody was aunt something, uncle something. It just seemed normal. I didn't think anything different until I got older, and then I realized that it was just a world my dad created for our church and everybody involved. So
he gave me a chance and he showed me the way, so I really appreciate it. He's like a dad to me. The closest thing I've ever had to a father. And he didn't let me get away with anything.
He cares so much about people that he won't quit on them. Never. He just doesn't quit on people, no matter what they do or how bad they are.
Acts chapter 2, that's what they did. The believers had everything in common. People call that cultish, but I call it Bible-ish.
And I don't know, Pastor, sometimes I want to punch you and feel you and see if you're not maybe an angel. People just don't do that anymore. I think you are. You're a saint or an angel, or you've been touched by Jesus.
Here we go, everybody. Gonna throw a righteous little party. Not the kind that you're thinking of. This party's filled with God's love. No drugs, no booze, and no sex. This party's filled with respect for God, 'cause he's the righteous one. Lord of Lord, God's only son. King of kings, hallelujah. Listen up, the Spirit talks to you. Loud and clear, God's near. Word of God is what you're gonna hear from me, Brother G. Homeboys, homegirls, the go to set free. It's time to give you the story. Check it out, it gives God the glory. Give the glory to Jesus Christ. He's the ultimate sacrifice.
The cool part of all during this thing, TBN, myself, and Set Free blowing up, stuff like that, my son returns after 14 years. I haven't seen him.
Geronimo was very confused boy.
I'd heard he was going through some tough times. I heard his mother was murdered, heard all this bad news. So I was praying for him that God would just touch his heart wherever he was. But I didn't really want to see him because I had the fear of rejection.
And he lived with very loving, strict grandparents that were very old, raising their daughter's son.
I had a lot of shame and guilt about all that, still do to this day.
I said, I'm going to move into the set-free homes, and I'm going to live with my dad, and I'm going to serve the Lord the rest of my life until he comes back.
It didn't take long for us to bond together, his brothers and his sister. We became a family.
When he first came around, I was not happy because he just was this guy who randomly showed up.
We couldn't listen to any secular music. He brought NWA in the house.
I kind of adopted him from the very beginning as just a big brother.
There's no greater joy I can think of in this world than being a father and seeing your eldest son, to begin with, sold out. I'm not talking about just getting high on Jesus every once in a while. I'm talking about being sold out on the Lord.
And he starts turning this hip-hop, doing Christian lyrics now. And all these young people are wanting to be part of it.
This is a jam for all the fellas. Try to do what that Bible tells us. God wants us to be so zealous, serving him only because of God is jealous. Set Free was kind of cheesy at the time, right? So he brought in the hip-hop into the house, and we saw him, making out with his girlfriend. We were like, wow, this guy's cool. We didn't ever see that,
At the time, I'm like, man, I want to be like that dude. Like, yo, teach me how to DJ, and, I want to go in the studio with you.
I remember him becoming the #1 child fast, and he became like a star there at our church.
My dad gave him everything, and he was #1 son, and we were all just his background singers, basically.
Stop! Holy time, go with the flow. It is said, if you can't go to this, then you're probably out dead, so wave your hands in the air. But if you move, so you really do care, this is it.
You see, says Dad, not be afraid of that music, but take that music and get that music saved. So it isn't the beat that sends anybody to hell. Matter of fact, that beat, we all know it sounds good and we love it. What we need to do is get those lyrics saved, get them changed around, and start doing it for Jesus.
But it had my son Geronimo back with me. Now we're part of a family. Everything's going good. But my son is tall, dark, and handsome. He says, hey, man, you got to watch out here because these girls will be looking at you. You're a performer. You're the pastor's son.
I was just Sunday Christian, and I had no joy or no peace or anything. But now I was like, I'm on fire for Jesus.
She gets real involved. And the next thing you know, her and my son kind of hit it off like that. So maybe 6 months later, my son's talking about, hey, Dad, I'd like to maybe marry her. So she's about 17 and a half at the time. And so I said, well, you got to get the dad's permission. So the parents were really happy because she's going to marry the pastor's son.
She was just engaged at the time to Geronimo. You're expected to be here. No, you can't go here because now you have to be here. Parents didn't like that. They were losing control of their daughter is what it was. And so they didn't like it. She became more distant. The wedding was moved up.
So how you guys doing?
We're just wonderful.
It was a very sad thing for Stacy because the day of her wedding, as she's getting dressed, her sisters and her mother were like in mourning. Poor little girl, she comes and she's like in tears. So we're all trying to cheer her up, her little bridesmaids, and we're all like getting her going. The ceremony's gonna start, and like looking at that family, it was very sad.
So Stacy, once again, here we go. Is it your desire within your heart to obey without reservation your husband in the calling of the Lord Jesus as to home, property, friends, family, or any such thing, sacrificing all pleasures and comforts for the sake of the preaching of the good news and the ministry of reconciliation committed unto us by God the Father through Jesus Christ? She said yes. Husband and wife, you may now kiss the bride. Would you please face towards the audience right there? I proudly introduce you, Mr. and Mrs. Geronimo Aguilar. Go ahead, Maxwell.
They are such a beautiful couple, and it's to see Phil so happy to have his dream realized, to have his son back. I just like to go home and just cry and just thank the Lord for all my blessings.
Geronimo, what a neat guy, and we just love both of them. We know the Lord's going to use them in their ministry.
She has dedicated her life not only to serve her husband, but to serve the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't lose a daughter, but you gain a son, and so I'm rejoicing in that tonight, that I haven't just lost my little Stacy, but that I've gained Geronimo.
Beautiful wedding, beautiful couple. Everything's going to be beautiful. They love Jesus. My beautiful wife would like to say a few words.
I just like to say that I love you so much, Geronimo and Stacy, and it's going to be so fun. We're going to just have a blast in the Lord together, going through the ups and downs of life in the ministry, and I'm so glad you guys are going to be with us through the whole thing. Love you, bye.
We're out of here. We don't want to, sit in the car too long. We're going to go read our Bible, eat some sunflower seeds, stuff like that.
They go to Hawaii for their honeymoon. They come back, and everything's going good. The church is blown up. People are asking me, Pastor, how do you do it? I go, I have no idea. This is really a Jesus thing.
A great church of over 4,000 meet every Sunday in Anaheim, California.
We literally put over 2,000, close to 2,500 people in this room, about 500 people outside. We had another junior church down the street, a place we rented a facility where we had 1,000 kids in church.
Not only do they take these kids off the streets and out of drugs and all kinds of problems and get them dried out and then filled up with the Holy Spirit, but Pastor Phil loves them, trains them, teaches them, and then many of them find their way down and literally become our telephone prayer partners. And Jan said, any former prostitutes in the phone booth? And 3 hands went up.
They want me to open up a ranch on their big 60-acre property.
There's just something about this Texas area, and they just love it. Now Set Free has the House of Paul, the House of Timothy, the House of Lois, 7 other homes, 3 ranches.
I have literally seen these kids' lives destroyed by the devil, absolutely ruined, personalities warped by drugs, and I've seen them literally change before my eyes.
We opened them up in Chicago, in Arizona, all over the place.
What you're doing, not only at the ranches, but at other places, people that want to know how to set up a, set-free style church, you're helping them. You're showing them how to do it.
And I'd been following Phil on TBN, so we decided to go and visit on 320 North Anaheim Boulevard. And we went down there and we had to park like 4 blocks away. And there's just a flow of people of all kinds of backgrounds, and we're all walking in toward the warehouse.
And I'd say, well, man, you got the Set Free heart. I mean, we go where Pizza Man don't want to deliver. We got the gift of inconvenience, are you ready to be the first one there, the last ones to leave? I says, you got that heart? Boom, I ordain you. Go on out there and do it.
Remember, he had a lot of pastors at that time. He must have 60, 70, if not more, at that time that he was launching out. I'm talking about all over the place. People had a vision, they had a goal. Now, truthfully, You want me to be truthful? Most of them didn't know what the heck they were doing.
And over 100 set-free churches started from Gold Coast, Australia, Madrid, Spain, Jerusalem, Israel.
The good news is God keeps sending many, many people from set free all over the world to plant new churches, to build God's kingdom, to build God's church. And another one of those couples is getting ready to leave this Wednesday, Marwan and Jackie, to Israel.
I am compelled to love the Jewish people. You know, God has put a love in my heart.
You know that guy you used to see on the side of the road with a shopping cart yelling at cars going by, screaming? That was me.
My own family didn't want me home, you know, and they gave me a home, you know, and thanks to Jesus and Set Free Ministries, you know, I'm alive today, you know.
I was homeless on these streets. I lost my family, lost my kids. Everything just went away.
Went out to the ranch. Jesus just crashed into my life, wrecked me for his love, and ever since been a part of Set Free, been planting churches.
I'm an ex-outlaw biker, come from the 1% world, come from the biggest club there is. I accepted my Lord Jesus Christ on January 30th, 1998.
They were just regular sinners like myself that were on fire for Jesus.
So I submitted my life to him in Cabazon Ranch, either 96 or 97, I don't remember because I was nuts. And he healed me, he delivered me.
We're about loving the lost, we're about compassion and showing people grace and mercy because that's what God did for us.
Open your doors, you meet them right where they're at, and you just love them. And it opens the shut doors of people's hearts where we can give them the gospel. But if you need a place to go now, you can come. And so we'll bring people home. That's when they go to our ranches.
Take me home. Let's go. Yeah, I wonder if you take me home, side by side, right hand of the throne. I'm under your command, I know. So whenever you're ready to leave, man, I'm gone. Cause I read the stories told about the street of gold.
When a man desiring to come into our program, he makes a 2-month commitment to the ranch, to not go anywhere, to not use a telephone, but to be immersed in God's Word for 2 months.
Came in here suicidal, broken. Drugs and alcohol, misery. I did 10 years in prison.
Almost overdosed, did 9 years in prison, and just a basic story from everybody.
Most of the people that come here, this is a last stop ministry. Currently we have 75 men here. That's a strain, but God provides.
This is controlled chaos, and I can't express that enough. Everybody's broken. Everybody is, including myself.
God humbled me, brought me to my knees because he takes the hardest of hearts and breaks it. You know, he breaks those chains, breaks those bonds.
You gotta want it. You gotta want to do this. If you don't want to change your life, nothing is going to change.
When people start seeking God and get a relationship with him, he starts restoring things.
Jesus is here, and he's done everything that I could not do. The Lord had told me when I got here, he says, don't give up, John, and what you can't do, I will do.
Sometimes people get a little bit of health and they figure they're okay. Hey, what's going on?
I must leave.
Why?
I choose to leave. I'm free.
Well, you can, yeah. That's no problem. I just was curious why.
I'm on my own journey with God, so I'm just moving with instinct.
How come you came here, if you don't mind my asking?
I was homeless, and I'm just on my own journey with God right now, so...
Yeah? So you have plans?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. What's your name again?
It's Guillermo.
Guillermo, yeah. So you got your mind made up?
Yeah, my mind's made up.
You got a place to go?
Yeah.
I just want you to be safe, okay?
Sure.
There's no hard feelings, right?
Why is that brought to my attention?
I don't know. It's okay.
Met you.
All right, Guillermo. Would you let me do one thing for you before you leave?
No.
No?
No, I need to get out of here, sir.
Okay, you want me to pray for you? That's all it was.
I'll see you guys in the next life.
Okay. Bye, Guillermo. Be safe. I really think he's unfortunately going to go chase a bag of dope right now. I pray that he stays all right. He's usually pretty honest. We get a lot of excuses too. Not that anybody needs to make one. There's nobody here held hostage.
You have to lay everything at the cross, and give it all to God.
Take that step and meet God halfway. He can't do everything. We got to make that decision. Amen.
One thing that Pastor Willie taught me, that it's all about grace, 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 and grace. I'm the grace guy here. If I say he can come back, then he comes back. And I've learned that lesson well. Jesus didn't give up on me. How could I give up on a man?
There you are on TV, Chaser. You're making your debut. She's getting a tooth. Yeah.
Everything is just going good. But one day, Geronimo's in-laws were a little upset because his wife wouldn't go with him to some family thing they were doing. And they have a very close family.
Shock of shocks, a family is disgruntled.
They started feeling like Geronimo was trying to control their daughter. So now there's a little button of heads going on. And so Geronimo's father-in-law was upset about it. I didn't know how upset about it was. At that time, he goes to talk to a pastor who was the overseer of all the Calvary chapels worldwide.
They go to another church, talk to a junior pastor, and he goes, "Oh, tell me more." Mm-hmm. Oh, and then what do? What else do you know? What else can I do? And began a witch hunt.
They've got a half a dozen people from Set Free that don't like what I'm selling, so they get over there. I got a little hate crew going on. I don't even know it till 1990. By December, I get a letter in the mail from Pastor Odin Fong telling me, maybe you've heard some rumors about what's going on in your church. And Pastor Odin said, if they are not true, then you truly have a conspiracy planned against you, and many people are lying, trying to destroy your reputation. If they are true, then you are heading down the same pathway of
Jim Jones or David Koresh.
He seems to fit the same MO of someone who collects people together, controls their lives to a place where they feel like they cannot live without him.
That changed my life forever. You know what I mean? I was angry. I was pissed. I was like, there was like something switched on inside of me. And I was a pretty loving kid, but I made a point that I'm never gonna let nobody disrespect my dad. If I ever met Odin Fong, I'd beat the crap out of him. I was so angry, right? Because I couldn't do nothing for my dad, and I watched my dad go into kind of a depression.
Of course, it's easy to say Pastor Phil's controlling. I mean, I've got almost 400 people living in our homes, 30 homes that we leased at the time. The majority of them come from a heavy drug background, heavy alcohol background, many gang members, many of them straight out of prison.
Every pastor has the potential to be a cult leader because you have sheep in your church that either want you to tell them everything to do in life, or you have those in your church that don't want to do nothing you tell them in life.
Kind of got a little cultish, maybe dictatorial. If you don't do the set free way, you just weren't that accepted.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna help you, feed you, everything while you're here, but you gotta go with my flow. You gotta go with my program. And if he didn't believe someone was good for them, or if that person didn't want to kind of go with our program but wanted to come on the property, he's not gonna let them come in and what he felt maybe, poison the well.
And we have to have rules, we have to have guidelines, we have to have accountability. I mean, when I take one grandkid to Disneyland, I let them run wild. When I take 12 of my grandkids or more, I said, we got some rules here. And that's what I had to do, tighten it up like that.
What a lot of these accusers of Pastor Aguilar and Set Free don't realize, see, they've never gotten their hands truly dirty.
That's right.
Taking people out of the gutter and putting a 250-pound Hell's Angel and letting him sleep on your living room floor. Let me tell you something. When you have 40 of them sleeping like cordwood in your living room and in your dining room and your kitchen,
Children in the bedroom.
and your daughter's in the back bedroom, you're going to have some rules, friend.
Some people would get mad. We had a rule, like you just couldn't get in the refrigerator. I get that. We got 300 people. If everyone was just helping themselves to the fridge, there wouldn't be the food that needed to be prepared. And people would complain about that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I just want to ask this group, is Set Free a cult? Can you walk out of Set Free anytime you want to?
I've seen them do it.
Yeah.
The doors are not locked.
There were no bars on the windows. People were always free to leave. I say that was utter nonsense. It was not a cult. It wasn't.
I know they say he's like a cult leader. Cotton was like a cult, actually. But to us growing up, it didn't seem like that. It was just normal.
I wouldn't say cult leader. Those aren't the words or the term or that I would use as cult leader. Leader, yes. If you want to throw in some, what some people would consider cultish ways, possibly. But I also saw the many people that if they didn't like something, they would leave. So that doesn't sound like a good cult to me.
The bottom line is, at the end of the day, you don't have to be here. The front door's unlocked and it's wide open. Either be grateful and be thankful, or adios, It was not a cult at all. It's crazy for anyone to say that.
We didn't hold people in. We didn't...
Oh, really?
We'll see how one young woman's experience with Set Free has torn her family apart. That and more as we continue our special investigative report into Anaheim's rock and roll religion.
I see God, Jesus, shining through him.
Others call Phil Aguilar con man, manipulator, and more.
Been around preachers all my life. I recognize what's supposed to be right and what's supposed to be wrong. This man was doing wrong.
Parents started the problem with that little couple because they would harass her about it all the time. Like, you're in a cult, you need to get out of there. So her and Geronimo would have fights, strife all the time because of that. For her to go visit them, Geronimo would say, well, no, they need to come visit you. Why should you go there? So it just got worse and worse and worse.
A father and daughter who apparently only see one another at home now when Pastor Phil wants to keep the media at bay. For the most recent visit was immediately after we interviewed Phil Aguilar about Stacy and her family.
The only conclusion that I can draw is that she was sent, and she does not want to admit that, mainly because she was told not to admit it.
Talk about a house divided. Perhaps it's a reflection on a small scale of what's happening with Set Free in the bigger picture.
She was so frustrated. She's trying to please her husband, please God, please her parents.
Are you really the person who separates families, who separates husbands and wives?
I have hundreds of families that will tell you the real truth, that I bring back children to their parents. I get them back going to the mom. That's the real fact. I got all this trauma going on, hearing from this, and then I got a couple named Bill and Jackie Alnor, who are apologists. They call them the cult finders, the cult seekers, the people that tell you whether you're a cult or not a cult.
We're fairly newlyweds. We met at a conference on cults in Phoenix, and we got married near Los Angeles last year. She's from California.
Bill and Jackie Alnor were part of the group that spread copies of these allegations all over the world, not just to Calvary chapels, but everywhere. I was being booked to speak all over the nation, and all of a sudden I had pastors calling me up and go, we have some concerns. There's been some rumors. There's been some allegations. We're not sure yet what to do.
But I have been disturbed by a bunch of, I'm just going to say it, a bunch of crap.
I've got this guy named Ron Enroth who wrote a book, Churches That Abuse, and they got a chapter of me in there, because I said this, that, so I'm getting hit from all these cult experts.
There's been some nasty stuff in the papers and pinned up on bulletin boards, and boy, there's a gang out to really give you trouble. I don't know, Phil, what the charge seems to be, is Set Free a cult?
Still, there's thousands of people that are saying, Pastor Phil, just keep on going, keep fighting the good fight. So I'm a little bit perplexed about that.
The Lord let me be an intermediary, and I got Pastor Chuck Smith and Pastor Phil Aguilar together, and they had a beautiful time of prayer and fellowship and teaching of the Word and reconciliation. And boy, I was hiring a kite. I thought everything was just fine. I thought everything was settled, that peace had been reached here, but apparently it has not. And I don't want to get into a whole lot of that right now. But I tell you, and you know who you are, you'd better watch it. You'd better watch it.
And that's about the time that I started seeing everything that was God doing, but yet I started getting a little prideful.
We became so huge that I think maybe their heads got a little too big and forgot that Jesus has put them where they were.
My brother told me when I first got there, he goes, hey, bro, check it out. This could be a great church, it could be a good movement, but if I stop reading from this Bible and you see things that aren't right,
be the first guy to take off. You don't really go up to Pastor Phil and tell him what time it is, you know. But I went up to him and shook his hand and said, "Hey, bro, I don't think things are really going the way they should. It was a great ride, and I'll take everything that I've learned here, and I'm going to move on. But I still love you. I see you at Christmas or whenever, you know."
I guess I just didn't make a good enough effort, and then I got the Davis family, Geronimo's in-laws. They're mad. Now they got a crew. They're talking smack.
As a young kid, I would see my brother Geronimo, you know, talking to other girls, and not, you know, his wife would be at home, and I was at 12 or 13. I'd be like, "Hey, dude, why you doing that? You're married." God gave me a voice at that time, and I'd be like, "Man, that's wrong," you know. And then I was the bad guy because he was the cool guy, the leader.
There were suspicions. I talked to him about it because I was concerned. No, it's not true. You know, the whole thing, lying. She said, "Okay, this is it. I know that you're messing around with this other girl." She was already going through turmoil. So she was like, "Okay, I'm out of here." Yeah. It was the saddest thing in the world. My husband said, "Okay, if this is what you got to do." And he had one of the guys give her a ride wherever she wanted to go. She insisted that now she believed her parents, that it was all a cult.
I mean, it was heavy.
The gossip and everyone getting together outside of the church to meet and talk about what was going on. Because now Pastor Phil was hanging around a lot of the young people with his son, Geronimo.
I sensed it. I sensed there was a woman.
I can remember I was yearly going on a trip to Israel, taking a group every year to Israel. I just love Israel. I love the Jewish people. And I can remember walking up to that bus, saying goodbye to the whole group of about 50 of them as they're getting ready to go to the airport to go to Israel. I can remember how it related when I read about King David. He was supposed to lead his people to war, but he decided to stay home, take a walk on the balcony instead because he was bored. Well, I stayed home, took a walk on my own balcony. I saw my own little Bathsheba, took my eyes off of Jesus, got myself in a bad situation.
Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? You know, you want to believe your husband?
No one has ever came to me personally, because here's what I said: if you didn't see it, don't repeat it. If you heard it, you're talking about gossip and rumor.
I didn't ask Phil about his personal life. That's none of my business.
And I've never just gone to Phil and said, "Hey, is any of that true?" I really doubt it. So my whole thing is, again, going back to the Bible, we're not to, entertain an accusation against an elder or pastor, but by 2 or 3 witnesses, and those would be eyewitnesses. So if you don't have that.
Not that I was ever trying to deny or not hear, but I made it clear, unless you were there and you saw it, or you got people that want to sit and talk and reconcile, or then...
My life's not right. I couldn't hide it anymore. People knew I was falling apart. Got myself involved in a relationship, and it went downhill so quick.
I knew her well. I mean, this wasn't like, she lived with us, which obviously is probably a part of the problem. Like, super friendly, cool. Like, she was one of the females that I was closer to during that time, and we really had a cool relationship, me and her, more than, maybe the 100 others that live with us. Not everything, your dad was doing was an outreach.
You got so many people in here, man, who were living together, and then they received Christ, and then they realized, hey, you know what? None of this stuff, like I can still live in the same house, and not mess around. Nobody's that tough. I'm still not of the opinion anybody can make it without a chaperone. Hello!
It was a long, long time ago, and I was still really young, so I didn't know all the details or facts, but I knew that something wasn't right, and I knew that, my dad probably was definitely in sin, because when you're in sin, we don't want to answer, any accusations. We don't want to talk to anybody. We just want to I didn't do nothing. I'm good.
There are accusations of sexual misconduct. Not true at all. Not true. Not true at all.
And I think that's why we butted heads so much, because I didn't really respect him because of the things that I heard or saw or whatever it was,
You don't want to believe it. You just keep playing your football and keep playing your video games and keep hanging out with your buddies. And while all this craziness is going on, you're just trying to make sense in your young mind, but it's always there.
Do you really want to throw all this away? do you really want me to just take the kids and leave and you can just go do whatever you want to do?
Everybody just assumes that she went along with whatever he did, but that's not true at all. And she's just not the type to go tell his business out on the street. She'll just deal with it at her house, you know?
I might have been on top of Mount Everest, but I'm telling you, I hit the bottom, and here I was still standing, and things were looking good, and I had thousands of people tell me, keep on, keeping on, keeping on, and all I was doing was looking for a way out.
Give it up, give it to me. The big Matt is coming from Set Free. And it is kind of a thrill because it's like, oh, you're gonna find stuff. But then as you're doing it, you remember, you know, these are the people we care about. You know, it's almost like you don't want to be let down if you don't find anything. But I think that letdown feeling is because you know something's going on, but you can't quite put your finger on it. We try to stay compassionate and empathetic and remember that we're doing this to help them. When we're doing searches, it's a lot of emotion at one time. So there's a lot of anxiety and nervousness because I'm an addict. I do get scared of what I'm going to find because that can be a trigger for anyone who is an addict. It's not the devil and making demons mean. And yes, I'm saving bros, saving souls. Up and down the avenues. And after I do that, I'm digging deep in my pockets for another map. Feel me tough, it's never being bad. Cause when I'm in the race, I get the healing bad. And a girl try to do me. I represent Set Free and the Los Orange County. But I never catch up well.
Good.
With the paper, yeah, my God saved
What you don't inspect, you can't expect.
Yep, okay, there's a
Okay, what is a spoon?
That's a little pipe for smoking marijuana.
Okay.
And these dryer sheets, Chief, they use these dryer sheets because they got scent on them, so they blow their smoke through the scent.
No, it makes it taste better?
No, it doesn't, don't smell so bad.
Oh.
They stuff the dryer sheets through here. When they smoke inside the house, blow it through so that it doesn't smell as much.
Oh.
Okay, that was in room 2.
Okay.
Which is Abercrombie.
Yes.
Which is, and there's the name on the
Yeah,
back.
I know the fellows well, yeah.
And then in the other boys' room, prescription medications you're not supposed to have.
There's a lot of people that ask questions, how come you don't just do something right now, you know, right in the impulse of the moment, stuff like that? Because I first pray about it, a little time goes by, I let it marinate in their heads. Because I know some of them are feeling shameful right now, some of them are feeling guilty, some of them will laugh like it's no big deal, but they're the ones usually hurting the most. And so that's why I take time for it to all simmer, and then tonight, when we get ready for our evening meeting before we go to bed, they've had plenty of time to stew, relive it through, what's gonna happen, am I gonna be booted out, is this gonna happen? All those feelings, those emotions and all things, that's part of the detoxification process. And then there's certain of these individuals, like a Ronnie, who I know of, I said, hey Ronnie, you're gone. I know he'll go straight to the dope man, and chances are he'll be dead. Some of them just knowing that, hey, the crew's on top of it now. They're following up. They're going to be looking in our rooms, and we'll see what other kind of things come out.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sounds good to me,
I'm
boss.
going to go talk to Ronnie now.
Okay, go
a little
talk to
meeting with him. I need to have an assurance from you that this just ain't going to go on anymore.
No, man. Nothing. No.
Tell me what you learned from this experience today.
I learned that you can't bite the hand that feeds you, man. And I could easily be out there, like you said, off to the races. And if I don't man up and deal with my problems, that they're just going to chase me forever. It's going to ruin my life. Today makes me realize that in a beat of a second, I could be out of here. Yeah. And it's not getting better out there. People are dying every day, and I don't want to be that guy. So this really scared me. Because death is one of my biggest fears, and I believe that if I keep going back out, I'm not going to make it.
Then never again
Yes.
will you bring any contraband, smoke anything, do anything that's against the policies here, ever. That we're on the same team now.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you another shot here because
it's good stuff.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief. Right. Good man.
You got it.
And I'm going to make you proud, man, if I haven't already.
It was quite a sight. Thousands of bikers, lowriders, even housewives and business people. They were here at City Hall to save their church. According to members of Set Free Christian Fellowship, the church is being accused by the city of marring redevelopment efforts because of their image.
The image of the sprawling Set Free Christian Fellowship ministry is marring the city's redevelopment efforts, and he urged that the ministry move out of its downtown locations. The image that Set Free portrays is not an image people will warm to and is not something that's going to attract homeowners and businesses to downtown, said Pickler.
Tom Daly, along with some other folks, wanted Pastor Phil out of downtown Anaheim.
That's ignorance on their part. There is no biker image, no drugger image down here. Anybody that has any concept that is in touch with the real people know that the black leather jackets and the dress and all that is not biker, it's not druggy, it's ex-biker, ex-druggy. There's the difference.
A 90-day termination notice has been given to the group, which must vacate the property by May 10th, 1993.
We're trading one community service for another, which we think will perhaps even reach a greater number of people than what are currently being served by Set Free.
We're going to cite Pastor Phil, and if you have another service, we're going to arrest you. I mean, craziness, right? We're having church service, and they're going to arrest him.
The city was buying buildings to sometime in the future tear down buildings and start building, condominiums or houses. So I believe they were premature. They were using that as an excuse to kick them out.
For those of you who aren't aware of it, I went to court this last Monday, and I pleaded guilty to our other building not having proper exit doors, not having proper things that needed to do code-wise, and so they gave me a $1,100 fine, and someone paid it for me, so I could be bailed out. And they gave me 3 years probation, so I'm now on probation again.
I really don't know how they got an injunction through the city attorney to have Pastor Phil and Set Free vacate that building.
A rally of thousands began at Set Free Church on Broadway, the building from which the city wants them to leave, and they made their way to City Hall, where they hope officials will hear their cry. Members of the church say they are friends of this city, and they've proven that many times over.
Please, Mayor Daley, don't take Anaheim back to the Clanaheim days, because Mayor Daley, I'm not going away, and I just might move right next door to you. Thank you.
Myself and the whole team got to go in to challenge our youth authorities yesterday, and we got to lead all kinds of gangbangers to Jesus Christ. We got to go into Norwalk High School and have a big public school assembly there. God's opening the doors there. We'll be at Terminal Island this week. We'll be at Duarte High School this week. We'll be at Stacy Intermediate Public School this week. We'll be at Dallas Youth Authority this week. We're having a Friday Night Concert Palace. We'll be at Joshua Tree, at the Way Station, ministering to everybody in that area.
At the time, my dad took us everywhere, but we really weren't with my dad. He would go and, he's the preacher, and he'd go preach, and we just kind of be where the luggage is,
After church, if you wanted to talk to him, it would be like a 3-hour line. And I wasn't going to wait in line to talk to him, so I'd just go do something else.
Well, I was a full-time mom. He wasn't, definitely not a full-time dad. He was a father to everybody. That's his role.
He never really answered to Dad. So I get his attention quicker if I say Pastor Phil. So then it just stuck.
His dad abandoned him at a young age. And in a lot of ways, at a young age, my dad abandoned me for the ministry.
I think he was the hardest on his children. He'd be harder on them, and they'd always say to me, I don't understand. He loves them more than he loves me, or he takes care of them more than he takes care of me. No, he knows they don't have love.
You can be a big biker and love Jesus. That you can be a businessman and love Jesus. That you can be a skateboarder and love Jesus. You can even be a Waldo and love Jesus. Hello. You know who you are.
So my partner Bill Taramina says, I got a building for you, we'll fix it up. And over 6,000 people showed up for our first service. Paul and Jan Crouch were there, Mayor Fred Hunter there, the head of the police union was there, and the fire department and code enforcers were there also. So they let us know, sorry, not enough parking, too many people. And so we had one grand opening, one time on a Sunday morning. So I said, okay, the only place we can meet is Glover Stadium, not too far away from here, seats about 8,000 people.
The day that Pastor Phil decided to say he wasn't going to be doing church no more, the whole stadium was packed and nobody knew they were coming for a last service.
A lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of heartache. Some people pissed off, mad, upset, because this was their home, this is their family. Some people blame me, some people blame City Hall, some people blame the new mayor. He said, go to other set-frees, go to other churches. By that time, I was ready to say, you know what, I got to get out of here. I'm burnt out. My life ain't right. I know I got my eyes off Jesus. All these people want to keep on going. I said, I can't do it. I'm just, morally corrupt right now.
And he came to me and he said, I need to change a lot of things in my life, and I need to get back on track.
I know my dad did it to himself, but I think because nobody knows how it affects the kids, and my mom.
My dad just didn't blow it up himself. I think other people, consenting adults, people that were saved, put their eyes on Pastor Phil instead of Jesus, you know what I mean? And they fell.
And I think he just felt like, let's just start fresh somewhere else, not running away from the Lord, just doing different ministry for the Lord.
Visalia, Kern County, all Northern California, love Set Free. And they always say, please come back, please come back. So I head on over there, like it says, about 50 people in our bus, and I got about another 100. Some people following in cars. They're just following me wherever I go.
It was crazy. Who does that? Who moves with 70 people to a city 3 hours away? There were so many people that this was their life. This was all they knew. This was their family. This was their home. My parents were their parents. We were brothers. We were close.
And we start doing the high schools, middle schools, all this stuff like that. And I mean, miracles are happening. Lives are being changed. And then Calvary Chapel pastor Bob Grenier, he makes a phone call and says, hey, listen, if you don't come clean with this, I'm going to have the TV cameras over your place. We're going to get you out of this town. You're not this.
Some of those same people that invite you into their home or their church home doesn't mean they want you in town every day, all day, especially our crowd. That's why people do those events once a year, because we're, a once a year group for them, not every day.
First, I didn't believe. Next thing I know, TV cameras are at my house, everything like that. So I said, I'm out of here. I'm tired of fighting. I'm out of here.
I don't know exactly what happened there or why we moved, but then he just said, okay, we're moving.
All of a sudden we opened up some frozen yogurt shop. That's when I started noticing okay, something's off.
It was a dark world for a lot of years after Set Free had closed down, you know what I mean? And my dad went on the tour, I always call it the manure tour, you know what I mean? It was like we went from city to city and we were getting chased out.
I said, man, I'm going to set up at a Set Free training center in Lake Elsinore. You're not setting up over here. You're evil, this. And he started passing out flyers around town, telling all the pastors, this guy, he'll get your kids.
You people that have been putting these things up on posters in public places, you better be glad I'm a Christian. And you better be glad Phil Aguilar's a Christian. Oh, yeah. No. Beware of Set Free. They will do and say anything in order to have people join their cult-like group. They speak about Jesus Christ and they claim to be Christians, but be warned, they are not real Christians. Brother, I want to tell you something. Saint or sinner, that is dangerous stuff.
My dad never talked about it. Never talked about it. Never brought it up. Never said, oh yeah, did you see the news? Did you see that? Never talked about it.
It was unscriptural, and it was just plain bad taste and bad form.
This is libelous, slanderous. It has caused harm and damage to Pastor Phil's home, his family, his life, his ministry. And you'll have to pray it through, Pastor Phil. But this old German, I'd say sue the bastards.
Call me a cult leader, but as a cult leader, all those people usually listen to him. Most of mine didn't listen to me, so that wasn't a good cult leader.
People during that time, less and less, they're like, yeah, I think this is my exit. And looking back, I'm like, I can't believe you stayed that long.
Kids always sneak in and you listen to what your parents are fighting about or arguing about, and we heard the conversations. It would break their hearts, my mom's heart. You can hear she'd go to her room and cry for days, you know what I mean? So you knew that stuff was going on and everything's falling down around you at the same time.
And as much as my dad bugs me sometimes, And we get into arguments, but like it's still my dad, so I don't want to hear bad stuff about him all the time.
By the time I got to Venice Beach, man, I moved into this gang neighborhood. There's a war going on over there, people shooting each other. But God was just saying, that's what's going on inside of your heart. So look at it.
My dad used to have us make incense and sell it on the boardwalk. Seriously. And my brothers used to rap out there. That was pretty funny.
I had about 25 people living with me still. Every day they'd get up and go, we still mad at God? You know, I actually had a little cult there at that time. And so I go, yeah, another day, still pissed off at God.
We had like no money, no nothing. I know everybody thinks we're so rich, but we really had nothing. That's why we were selling incense.
I took off the Train to Serve Jesus, and I put on a faced and pissed off sticker on my van. I changed my license plate from the Biker Pass to Chief, and then I had painted underneath that of sinners.
He can wake up on the Jesus side of the bed, and the dude's gonna win people to the Lord all day long. He's gonna help people, help sick, broken, take them in his home. But if he wakes up on the other side of the bed, on the devil's side, you know, if he wakes up as the chief and not Pastor Phil, it's on and cracking, and he's a very gangster, angry, hardcore, manipulating guy.
I can remember public bathroom right down the road, how one day somebody was banging on my door there and said, Pastor Phil, is that you in there? Can you come out and pray for me? I was going, oh, shiznit, I don't want to go out and pray for nobody.
That's when my oldest brother, Geronimo, left in the middle of the night one night there. And then I was like, okay, this part of our life's over for sure. It's definitely, everybody's gone.
At my worst, when I was screaming at God, I can remember saying, hey, God, I've had it, I'm done, I don't want to be in the ministry anymore. And I could hear that still small voice I'd often talked about and preached about. God said, I love you, son. I love you. Shortly after that, Pastor Tommy Barnett from the great Phoenix First Assembly Church in Arizona called me up and asked if I'd help his son pioneer a place called the Dream Center.
You remember, Tommy, back in the club, how you kids used to laugh at that song.
He had a church called the Bethel Temple and about a dozen homes that were given to him by the Assembly of God. And all he had was his son and about 15 Filipino members, because all of his group, this Master's Commission, it all went back to Phoenix, Arizona, because LA's scary. And I just started doing what I do. I started reaching out to the neighborhood. I set up a basketball court. I started working with the gang members. And then I can remember Tommy taking me to this place called the Queen of Angels. And the two of us looked at that building and he goes, I'm not going to get this place unless you'll come in as a pastor here.
You know, a lot's been said about Los Angeles. People talk about the riots. They talk about the earthquakes. They talk about the fire. But we want you to know that something is happening in the inner city. And a revival has broken out, 14 stories high, 1,400 rooms, 400,000 square feet for the glory of God.
And I says, yeah, we can do this. And the three of us made a commitment. I was the first one to move on that Dream Center campus with me and my family. I brought 100 volunteer staff to come on from Orange County. We fixed the kitchens, the plumbing, the things. I took the buses out to Skid Row. We got it going.
I know nobody gives them credit for that, but we were the ones who moved there. And people from our ministry like that still liked my dad at the time, moved their whole families out there and everything to help get going.
We are from Orange County, so it was definitely culture shock. Gang members on every street and corner, throwing gang signs at you, you know, acting hard. So we had to get tough real quick.
Nobody was coming to church much, so Pastor Tommy asked me, hey, you got a band? So I brought the Set Free band, got them to get together, and he saw it week after week as our band, our music started happening. The place started to fill up. It was about a 900-seat facility. Within 6 months, we had a revival where Pastor Tommy was preaching Thursdays, I was preaching Saturday nights, and Pastor Matthew was preaching Sunday mornings.
I want to say, first of all, I'm very thankful for my son that I have with me, Matthew Barnett, today. Let's welcome Matthew Barnett. And I thank God for it. Matthew's 21 years of age.
We were doing more outreaches and rapping. This was like another kind of lease on, you know, life for my dad. He was very excited.
I'm also thankful for this next man I'd like to introduce, a man that God has used, the other pastor of this church that God has raised up in the great outreach ministry, Thank God for Brother Phil Aguilar. Give the Lord a good clap offering.
Thank you, Pastor Tommy. I just want to say I'm so thankful because a year ago, I was going through one of the deepest valleys of my life. Set Free Ministries was having a tough time, but then we teamed up with the LA International Church, and now we're on top of the world, fired up for Jesus Christ. Thank you, Jesus.
You can have a dream, but does your dream have security? Does your dream dodge bullets? He brought, my dad and crew in to protect his son in his dream.
Here's a young man, 21 years old, just got the fire of God, just a pure lifestyle for Jesus. I mean, he is what we all want our young children to be, like this guy. That's what we want him to be, just in love with God with all their heart.
And I believe more people will support you when they see that you're enjoying where God has put you. And when you're in the will of God, you have no choice but to enjoy where God has put you. And I just feel that way every single day of my life.
Pastor Matthew Barnett and his family and all of them that would come from Scottsdale, Arizona, so they would come and visit or come when the church service was, but then you wouldn't see him for the next week.
Hey, do you know any rap song that you can perform? It would really be lovely. We'd love it. I mean, I woke up this morning and got out of bed. Remember that? Run DMC? Yeah, no, do it. Come on. And I'm proud to be black. What? Say what? You know what I mean, black, y'all? That's a fact, y'all. And if you try to take what's mine, I'll take it. Oh, dang!
That was our life. We lived there. So at that age, I'm like, where's this dude go? And just kind of, it seems like he just kind of shows up when the camera's on.
These two white guys, Tommy and Matthew, they were amazing at, they were good salesmen.
Close your eyes just a minute. This was not planned. I didn't have this in my program. But I just feel like there's somebody out here tonight. I feel there are many somebodies who've been a part of this and said, look, it looks so good. I want what I've experienced tonight.
And we kind of already seen past the BS, so we were kind of like joining another circus.
And I didn't have a dream. A few years back, I didn't have a dream. I was looking for a dream. And once I met Pastor Matthew and Pastor Barnett, God gave me a dream again. He gave me a dream to reach out to teenagers all over the world.
My dad is that guy. He's just happy to be on a team again. So the Dream Center was great, and a lot of people got saved, but I think that was really rough time again for my sister and my brothers, and a lot of us started being attracted to the gang mentality, started dressing like the gang members. I started being like, yo, what's up, home? What's up? I wasn't even a real Mexican. I'm half Sicilian, half Mexican. I was talking like a cholo, you know what I mean?
And thanks to Pastor Tommy, and Pastor Matthew for just accepting our family and taking us in no matter what he's heard about us and how we've been. Thanks.
Yeah, no matter what he heard about us.
Wait a minute. Pops, why is he, doing all the work? And this white boy, God bless him, is getting all the credit. Why is he staying in Bunker Hill, that's downtown LA, like rich area, and we're here, at the Nuns Quarter on the campus, and there's gunshots going off and gang members, jumping up and down the street, jumping fences and Rampart District, and it was like chaos.
But Set Free started becoming pretty strong on the campus, and I think it just got a little bit mixed up on there and stuff like that, because Set Free's got a little bit different flavor than the vanilla flavor they had. We had a little Tapatio in the mix, too.
I think it ended bad because, my dad started being the figurehead of the Dream Center. Everybody who came knew my dad was the guy. My dad's church would have, 1,000 people on a Saturday night. Tommy's son, Matthew Barnett, would have, 50 people. It started becoming pride. And everything that they said they weren't going to do, they ended up being, we love you, we're not going to get prideful. And everybody gets prideful. And I thought we were all on the same team. But as we started looking around, we realized, we're there eating, beans and rice. And they're eating, 5-star dinners after church, with their big pastor friends. We started realizing, oh yeah, we're just the help.
But Pastor Tommy pulled me out and put me back on a good path, and I love him forever for that. And Matthew, just the greatest young kid, and it was a beautiful thing, but it was time for me to move on.
Guess who? Set Free's back, wait's over. Same Christ, new crew, makeover. The devil had his turn, game over. Now what we gon' do is take over. Ain't nothing stopping us, ain't nothing stopping us. Take over. Ain't nothing stopping us, ain't nothing stopping us. Take over. Ain't nothing stopping us.
My dad loves crazy people, as you can see him. He hangs around people that aren't all there in the brain, you know what I mean? And Wiley Drake's just a radical.
Baptist preacher, very outspoken, running for president all the time. Crazy, wonderful guy.
They had a big crowd, a lot of motorcycles, a lot of noise, a lot of wild and crazy worship. But I said, hey, we can handle that, because on Saturday, We're sort of typical Protestants or Baptists. We don't do much on Saturday. You know, that's sort of a day off. And so our church was available.
So I started Set Free Saturday Night Church, and the place just started jumping off. Got our band, got our posse, just got rocking and rolling again.
It looks and feels like a hip-hop party with rappers, dancers, and screaming fans. But this party is in the name of God.
And I'm getting calls from the police department saying, what's going on down at the church, Wiley? You got all them motorcycles, all those gangbangers. And I said, no, we don't have gangbangers. We got Set Free.
There's nothing like it there. I mean, it just brought an excitement to church.
There's like 100 bikers on the front. And I was like, whoa, man, am I going to get beat up? I didn't know what this place was.
We used to fill up like 3 aisles with Vagos, you know, and listen to them. And I love this message. I love the music.
And they were rapping, but they were rapping about Jesus and then all these songs about love. And I just started crying. I was just busting out crying. And I was like, at that point, thought I was the toughest dude in the world.
You know, he taught me that I can be who I am, you know, and still have the love that I have for God. And they don't have to change, you know. Changes will happen within.
Every time I messed up, they were there for me to pray for me. And I saw men that had that raw look, but they had that loving spirit, man, and they were willing to reach out to a guy like me who had nobody at the time.
Sure, Pat, I don't mind the church being the prodigal's home. I mean, I've come back to the Lord a few times, you know, so, I mean, but in order for this to be the prodigal's home, the Father's Spirit has to dwell here. That's right. Whoa.
We had like 600, 700 people, and we were doing all the music now, so I was at least happy, like, now this is our time.
We were doing our Servants for Christ motorcycle ministry at the time.
Just being a regular guy slipping in a truck. We can't be regular guys. We're not regular people. We're a different breed.
Our main mission was to really go out and to help people.
We're out here today doing ministry, serving the Lord, having a great day doing it. So remember, Jesus first, He'll change your life.
Year after year, we would ride everywhere you could imagine. We'd go there and we would help people, feed people, and house people.
After so long, it kind of got, in my eyes too, and to a few of us, like diluted. It got watered down. It wasn't what it started out to be.
Supposed to be his brothers and down to the end, and we're bikers, we're tough, you know, I guess that's their whole thing.
Like anybody now that wanted to wear Servants for Christ, hey, oh cool, you want to be a biker? Hey, you don't even have a bike? Because that's what it came to, is most guys didn't even have bikes.
A couple of guys said, hey, let's get a little club that's a little more committed and more like the Green Beret.
Hey, Dad, I don't want to wear a Servants for Christ vest if I'm going to be going to a club and trying to pick up on chicks.
You know, we wanted to roll with Chief. We just had a loyalty to Chief because he'd done so much for everybody.
The Set Free crew, there ain't no other crew of planet Earth like that. The originals, the original bikers for Jesus.
So we started the Set Free Soldiers. We were going to be hardcore soldiers for Jesus.
My dad was still believing that it was going to be a Christian club. We thought, cool, now it's our time. We could be a full, I don't want to call an outlaw club because we were even different than that. We were just a bunch of brothers who wanted to ride together, and we didn't want to be put in that position where we're going to be judged if somebody had a cigarette or a beer. We're men, you know what I mean? And this is our home, and we're never going to let anybody disrespect my dad again, or, you know, we're going to stand up.
One thing I never did was tell Pass anybody was talking bad about him. I just handled it.
And I've had the opportunity and the privilege to do weddings and funerals from just about every club there is. I've always tried to get along and be at peace with everybody.
Chief's always known the highest up dudes in every motorcycle club. He's an alpha male, and he'll connect with leaders.
The Vagos have always respected Pastor Phil, you know, because he's done a lot of good for a lot of us.
Every once in a while, you cross paths where somebody doesn't like you. That's just how it is. But my motto, my decisions have always been as a peacemaker. I've never lifted a hand one time in all the years that I've been saved at anybody in any kind of violent way, not one time.
If he had become a Vago, become a Hells Angel, become a Mongol, become anybody, there would have been a separation. And he couldn't do what he does right now.
The soldiers started growing, and the soldiers started becoming kind of a priority. Lots of other parts of the church didn't feel they were that important.
He came to me and said, Wiley, we're outgrowing your building, and we need to go somewhere else. And we've decided that we're not going to try to find another bigger building. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a smaller building and sort of cut back and go a different direction.
We started meeting where it was literally an invite only. I just wanted to deal with people that I believed were a good investment. They were serious about God. They wanted to get involved and do it set-free style, soldier style. We had all our motorcycles all black and white patches, you know. We started becoming a real exclusive.
The only Christian 1%er club in the world, according to law enforcement.
And he does have kind of a funny way of making you want to, at least for me, be loyal.
I wasn't looking for just big numbers anymore. I was looking for just a tight group. I was having a good time.
This is the way the soldiers get their minds together, get strengthened up, bond, brotherhood, soldiers.
And they really looked cool. You know, they had it down, their patches, they just really look good.
Sure enough, little by little, all these young people, including my brothers and everybody, started losing the sight of what it was for and acting like they shouldn't have been.
Our runs and our rides weren't to so much, you know, proclaim the name of Jesus, but proclaim the name of set-free soldiers.
We would do a lot more riding and a lot less ministry.
I downgraded away from the ministry, and it became more about the club and more about riding motorcycles and stirring up. I mean, that's what it was.
And that was really all we kind of cared about. Did they know we were there? Did they know we had the nicest bikes? Did they know that we, you know, looked good? And it did. It became about us. It became about me. It became about, you know, how cool and maybe how hard. And
I didn't care about church or Jesus. We went in full mode of, hey, we're a club and we ride and we're brotherhood.
The pride slips in, and it you know, being in the middle of it, I didn't realize how quick, you know, and you know how it kind of, I feel, overtook us all. Yeah.
And to me, that began to be a signal that probably it was time for me to move on.
I'd say like this: the farther you get away from Jesus, the more sin creeps in, and the more your life becomes a freaking wreck.
Yeah, set free. It's gladiator music. Finale, homie. That's how we go out. Even though I walk through the...
Woke up to helicopters and loudspeakers. Couldn't tell what was going on. Police helicopters. They've had DEA, Anaheim PD. I've seen Fullerton PD, Orange County Sheriffs, and SWAT all up and down the street, apparently hitting all the set-free houses.
At 5 in the morning, they decided to wake us up and take a number of us away.
Look down the hallway and it's just filled with flashbang grenade smoke, right? So I'm like, dude, this is like, what, you know, and I didn't know where to go there. I don't want to go nowhere, and I want to protect my wife and kid.
Oh, don't go out there because, like, they're looking for somebody.
Little did I know that there was 150 SWAT team members there with M16s pointed at our homes that we had on the block. We had about 5 houses on the block where people in our ministry lived. My grandchildren, my daughter-in-laws, my son-in-law.
First thing I did was, you know, make sure to have my soldier gear on and what I represented, because I wanted to go out with a bang, you know what I mean? I thought this was it. I thought this was the end, you know what I mean? I thought end times, Armageddon's here. This is like the God's coming home, you know, we're gonna fight against the bad people, you know, my mind was out of whack.
But I was very calm, and I just figured, hey, we gotta deal with it. It's tail reckoning right now.
I only found out what happened because my friend called me and told me it was all over the news. So I had to fly back from Mexico. God spared me on that one.
I was at work, and my friend in the next cubicle said, Elizabeth, I think this is your brother on TV.
And I was literally in shock. One of the things that went through my mind was, I'm sure glad I'm not there right now.
And then, dude, I get my wife to the door, and dude, they have, my daughter had no shirt on, just like diaper. I saw over 60 infrared red beams on her body. And right then I was so angry, I was so mad. I was like, fuck you, you know, I was pissed, you know, like F you, I was pissed.
As I'm walking, I'm seeing my boys on the curbs handcuffed, and I didn't know what was happening. You know, it's like so surreal. You have no idea what's really happening.
My grandchildren were traumatized. My wife was put in a paddy wagon with handcuffs on. Little did I really know. I did not know that they were coming especially for me.
As of this time, I understand we have 8 out of the 11 people in custody for attempted murder.
Newport Beach Police Sergeant Evan Saylor explains what led to this morning's massive raid.
This started Sunday, July 27th, about 1:45 in the afternoon. We got a call to Blackie's Bar, which is located down by the Newport Pier. Large altercation inside the bar. When we arrived, everybody had pretty much fled. The altercation was obviously over.
Saylor says the fight was between the Hells Angels and set-free soldiers, leaving 2 members of the Hells Angels stabbed.
Right before that, we were like watching like a friend's kid like skimboard down the road in Newport. And then from there, we're like, oh, let's go get a bite to eat.
Yeah, we were just chilling, basically having some burgers and fellowshipping in the sun, man.
But then there was this other guy who's not even a part of our club, who was the loudest mouth of all. It's always that one, you know, it's always the one that you invite and you're like, who is this guy? Who brought this dude to the barbecue? Who's like stirring it up or just, you know, being an idiot.
And, you know, and then obviously some other things happened. Yeah.
It wasn't even my dad and this guy who had the issue. It was the guy behind my dad and the guy behind the guy who had the issue that, you know, were kind of woofing to each other. And that's how it happens, man. And the guy let loose.
I don't like to talk about any of that stuff. It brings back really bad memories for me, and I just don't like, it's nothing I want to talk about.
I was thinking of protecting my father, number one. All my brothers, yes, but they can handle themselves.
Did we back down from a fight somewhere? No. I mean, if somebody puts their hands on my dad or somebody I love, I mean, what would you do if it was your kid, you know what I mean? Or somebody you loved, or your dad or a relative. You defend them, you know what I mean? It's your first instinct.
I was thinking, just got real. I was like, oh, I do not want to be a part of any of this stuff.
The local law enforcement and the sheriffs all been watching us for years, wondering, waiting for us to slip up, which in that case, that incident at Blackie's was enough for them to have grounds now to get a search warrant. For years, they were trying to get a search warrant, but we never did nothing. Nothing wrong, nothing illegal.
The police were everywhere. It's like the whole of the city of Anaheim police force was there and did not find anything.
Well, they're looking for drugs and guns, you know, everything they thought what we were.
It was disgusting. They tore up our houses, put holes in the ceilings, dug in the yards.
Thinking, where are these guys hiding the drugs? Where are they hiding the prostitutes? Where are they hiding the boatloads of whatever we feel they're a part of, the guns, the ammunition?
They go through your dirty laundry. Now, if that's not humiliating, nothing is.
Basically, they didn't have anything. They didn't care about all the biker stuff, and they wanted Phil.
We do get gang members from all over Southern California, you know, visiting our beaches, just like the good people of our community want to do. So sometimes we have to deal with this, and, you know, we're not happy about it.
That was on like Fox News and CNN and stuff. So, you know, it's like a real big thing. And here we are up in little old Yucaipan people. Well, you affiliated with him, you know?
It was a horrible day. It was a horrible day. The newspapers and the news made go worldwide appear like I would be locked up for the rest of my life.
My dad always says, well, if Chill or, you know, Rock goes to prison, they'll be fine. You know what I mean? Don't ever let MJ go. That was always his thing. He's too pretty, you know?
Me and him were in a jail cell together for hours, figuring out the next step. And those hours were probably the longest hours of my entire life. Just to see my dad, I don't even think we said one word.
Well, I had those 3 days before I got bailed out in the Orange County Jail. I had time to think about that experience, kind of like Jonah and the whale. I was in the whale's belly for those 3 days. I was Jonah, and God pointed out, I sent all those officers, all this attention, just to let you know, Phil, that I love you, but your pride's got out of hand. I made a commitment to God, man, you know what? I'm done with the lifestyle I've been living, even though it wasn't drugs or anything like that, or violence, the pridefulness of being around thinking that we were somebody or I was something like that.
Because they're trying to send us away forever. I mean, that was their goal. Let's find this. And it just became a mockery of Anaheim police, and it became a mockery of the judicial system, and it became, you know, every single person that was involved. At the end of the day, they got me personally in my house for brass knuckles, which are technically illegal. But they weren't there the day of the fight. There's no blood on them. They're a keepsake from anyone who lives around here who goes to Tijuana, Mexico. But that was enough for a felon. My dad, he has a history, even though it was a long, long time ago, for having, I believe it came down to one round, one bullet.
Man, they didn't find one thing in any of his houses. They hit him on a little replica bullet, you know what I mean? And it was pretty pathetic.
Being an ex-con, a felon, I shouldn't even have that one bullet. So learned a valuable lesson.
Chief didn't get no time, and MJ didn't get no time, so that was good, man. You know, that was good. Basically, they give me a year in the county, no prison time, which I'm all down with that.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons. You know, I'm sorry to all my soldiers and everybody that I led on this trip, you know, and people that we had a confrontation with. Sorry about all that. I got a new patch that I wear. It's called Train to Serve Jesus, and I'm a loner rider for the Lord, and when I show up, there's 100% perfect attendance, and if something goes wrong, I know who the guy is that did it, and so I'm loving my life.
Wake up, prayed up for the war that's on the streets. To everywhere I go, God go with me. He's my protector, I'm his proclaimer. He changed our lives and now we're making life changers.
I wake up, prayed up for the war that's on the street. Yeah. So everywhere I go, God go with me.
Every time God has to get his attention, he has to do it through a fire, a raid, an arrest. You know, it takes a while to get his attention. But when he does, he immediately knows it's God, and he immediately humbles himself and gets back on track.
There were certain people that I knew that I'd done wrong in my life, people that I'd hurt, people that I led in the wrong direction. God gave me the idea, be a professional forgiver.
When he backslides, he does it all the way, man. And he don't bump his head. He just smashes it, right? I've seen God be faithful in his life over and over and over. Look, and Phil will say it ain't about him being faithful. God's been faithful to him.
We all fail. We all fall. I can't think of a Bible hero that hasn't fallen.
I started emailing, making phone calls to people. Said, hey, I'm sorry. Most of them said, hey, thanks for doing that. Some people said, no, I'm not going to forgive you.
He's just a maniac, but a maniac in a good way, you know, and thank God he got saved, because he'd probably be a very destructive force in society if he wasn't saved, you know.
There's a lot of people that don't like him. There's a lot of people that hate him, but they don't know that he still prays for those people, and he still loves them. Truly does.
You know, there's so many more good stories than there are bad, because I've done my research. When I wasn't around my dad for years, I heard some of the bad stories. I spent time with him and prayed. You've been hurt, you've been used, you've been abused. Now what can we do about it? Because I've been there too. I've been hurt, I've been used, but what are we going to do about it?
And it's amazing. I go, what's that guy doing here in church? I thought he just badmouthed you, bro. Oh, I forgave him, bro. Oh, my gosh.
And people that I've done wrong, man, I feel terrible about it, but I've got to move on with my life. And so I've asked for forgiveness of anybody and everybody, you know, to let them know, man, hey, I'm sorry about that stuff, but I'm a new man today. I'm a new person today.
Was it kind of cultish? Maybe. But for me, it was always the church. It was always family. And my loyalty to him wasn't anything that he demanded from me. It's something that I wanted to give to him in gratitude of what he'd done for me.
My dad's like Dennis Rodman of Christianity. Not everybody's going to like him, but he's key and he's valuable in the kingdom of God. You need Dennis Rodman on teams. He's one of the greatest rebounders that ever lived. Pops is definitely crazy, definitely a gangster. That's what those people, they fell in love with, most of the people that don't like him. They fell in love with that guy. He told people from the stage, I'm bipolar, I'm unsteady, I'm crazy. We love you, Pass, I'm here.
Lo and behold, I got an email in November 24, 2010, where Jackie Alnor and her husband, Villa Alnor, who had written so many negative things about Set Free. I read this email and it just blew my mind. Of all the critics that have opposed you, your ministry seems to have borne the most fruit in helping hurting souls. I wrote very negative things about you and your ministry back in the days.
He has demonstrated by his life and his walk and what we've done so many years, that the Bible is true when it says that no weapon formed will prevail against you. And to this day, none has.
I scattered thousands of people who used to go to Set Free by my public efforts that should have never been a public matter. What I did was not honoring to Christ, and I hurt so many people. For my role, please forgive me.
No matter what anyone says about him bad or negative, you'll hear 1,000 more people say the wonderful thing about him. It's the same thing. He's very caring. He's very loving.
And I'm helping out people like I've been doing almost 40 years, but now it's a little different flavor because I'm working with therapists, I'm working with clinical psychologists, everybody's a certified counselor, but it isn't just being out there at the ranch, you know, and raking leaves and doing that stuff. Now we're having therapeutical groups, you know, we're talking about cognitive behavior.
At the Black Sheep, they absolutely know that it's not about the money. It's about keeping them alive for another day and hopefully lose the addiction.
We're working with the old crew, the beans and rice crews, people not getting out of prison. They're harder groups, they got to have more rules. This group, I got to coddle them more, get to love on them more, get to treat them sweeter way. He's a good father, you know. And a lot of us weren't raised up maybe with a good father. I wasn't a good father to my kids all the time. I'm trying to be a better father. And like I said, I've adopted everybody I work with. I adopt them into my family because the two words that describe what I do, why I do it, I care. I'm not off some other place. I'm not into fancy things. I love this life. The thing that I'm most proud of in my life is that I got such an awesome wife, wonderful children.
I think it's the season of a father wanting to really hand down something to your children and your grandchildren.
It's another chance because when I was in the ministry with all my children, I was doing 18 hours a day of ministry, and a lot of times I didn't get to spend with my children that I get to spend with my grandchildren now.
He's grandfather of the year every year. He loves his grandkids, every one of them.
I have 23 grandchildren. Most of them I get to see on a quite often basis.
I see the way he is with his grandkids and his kids, and he still has date nights with his wife. That's what I like. I see the balance, and out of living life, he continues to give life.
He's brought thousands upon thousands. If we had the exact number of people he's led to the Lord, it would just blow our minds.
That guy's a soul winner. Everywhere he goes, he wins souls.
It's the good news, it's the gospel, it's soul winning, it's outreach, it's love, it's people, it's, you know, forgiveness.
But like he'll give his last dollar, he'll move them in. If my mom would let people live in the house right now, it would be full.
Had I not met that man, had God not put him in my life, I wouldn't be right here right now.
The name and the testimony will continue to live on years after he's gone.
His compassion for other people, his love for other people, his desire to help other people, even when I think he overdoes it.
He's one of the most generous men I've ever known and most forgiving person I've ever met in my life. And I love him.
Yeah, you love him.
And I'll stand behind him as long as he's following Christ the way he is today.
In the Bible, people that made big mistakes had really big comebacks. And the bigger the setback, the bigger the comeback. And that's what we see in the life of Phil Aguilar.
Little did I know that at 69, I would be thinking about projects and doing projects and opening new treatment centers and helping open up churches. Right now, I'm mentoring and investing in people's life, and it is the most fruitful time in my life.
I think we've just seen the tip of the iceberg of set free in the future because it's not about addition anymore. It's like multiplication.
It's that way, reaching out, going where pizza man don't live, or going to the highways and byways, using the gift of inconvenience, you know, loving people right where that.
It's not about the name, it's about the lifestyle. It's what you live for, it's what you believe.
Man, I'm just going to keep on keeping on for Jesus. I want to finish the good fight, and I want to finish it strong. Man, I want to go out swinging, knocking the devil on his butt, and just giving the finger and telling everybody to go to heaven.
Guess who? Set free's back, wait's over. Same Christ, new crew, makeover. The devil had his turn, game over. Now what we gon' do is take over. Ain't nothing stopping us, ain't nothing stopping us. Take over. Ain't nothing stopping us, the takeover. Yeah. It's only just begun.
Well, I'm the unlikely Set Free pastor. So I did not go to the ranch. I wasn't part of Set Free. In fact, I was into the financial career and doing mortgages, and then I was the reluctant pastor.
God led us to the Set Free Ranch, okay, at separate times where we ended up giving our life to Christ, okay. 18 years later, we are now missionaries answering the call in India.
I was in the LA County jail, and a brother that was in the jail with me had told me about Jesus, and he told me about a place called Set Free. So as soon as I got out, I decided I needed to make a change in my life. I gave my heart to Christ, and I've been here ever since.
I first came to the ranch, my face was completely full of boils from the withdrawals, and he completely restored my face and my mind and everything. So it's just been such a beautiful thing since Jesus has crashed into my life.
Set free really is a blessing. I mean, if you apply yourself and you go there and you really want to get something out of it, you got the right man that's going to teach you, which God used Pastor Phil. And he have a crazy way, but it's a real way.